Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is May 30th, and it's Robot Nonsense Day here at the L1 Links with Friends show.
And we got some new robot friends.
OpenAI launches Codex, an AI coding agent in ChatGPT.
Just like a lot of coding AI stuff, this is going straight into your repo, straight into your file system. It's going to have lots of integration. It's going to run in the background on Windows. And yeah, there you go. It just goes and does stuff. They also claim that it could take 1 to 7 hours, I think, for this one.
Huh.
So you can just turn it loose, and it's just going to be in the background there, crunching away, spending your tokens. Interesting.
You won't know any issues with it until much later.
And the competitor has given us a new model.
Introducing Claude 4. Notably, this is from Anthropic's website.
And this one is claims to be much better at coding and that kind of thing. Which honestly is already the thing that language models are maybe best at. Extended thinking, more token capabilities, and more API stuff, again, to plug straight into file systems and stuff like that. You don't even need to prompt anymore. Just put it in there. Just let it do what it wants.
I need something. I don't know what it is. That's actually very frustrating, even as a non-AI coder.
I have noticed that a lot of our comments, people are complaining that there are more and more ads. I don't know if we control that. I don't think we do. But don't expect it to get better.
YouTube viewers will start seeing ads after peak moments in videos. This enrages me. Just reading the article enraged me.
So the idea here is AI is
There's
going
a picture
to...
that nicely demonstrates what they're... Oh, not this one. Actually, this might be it too.
Yeah, this is a proposal. And so
There you
AI
go.
is going to figure out, hey, this is something that people are going to engage with. So you're going to feel good or happy or super interested. And then, boom, you're going to get an ad in that moment of bliss.
My favorite part, though, of the little usage bar on YouTube is that oftentimes you see those peaks right after an ad spot.
Oh.
So do you think that will poison it a little bit, where it's like, oh, I skipped over the in-video ad,
Maybe.
and then I get another ad?
But then it'll move in real time, right? Like it'll
Yeah.
just keep fighting you, trying to
I
find
mean,
the
it's
sweet spot.
very user hostile.
And Google has also launched a new thing to create those YouTube videos. We don't need you to create them anymore.
Google launches VO3, an AI video generator that incorporates audio. You've probably seen some of these this week if you have been anywhere on the internet.
And if you're subscribed to the higher tiers of Google's AI subscription service, you can use it right now.
There are no examples in this article, but I saw quite a few. One that I saw was like a street interview.
I saw Fortnite, somebody playing Fortnite, street interview, stand-up comedian.
Someone in front of looks like it was a car show.
Yeah.
Some of the details are still off, but it is sadly quite impressive.
And we're still in the infancy of all this.
Yeah.
So it's going to get worse/better, depending on your perspective.
I'm kind of inclined to say worse, but
we have to admit that some AI things are useful and could possibly bring us together as a planet.
Google brings live translation to Meet, starting with Spanish.
It's probably not going to be perfect, but it's probably enough that you could, get the idea.
Figure out
across.
what's going on.
That one's maybe not the worst thing.
Yeah, I don't hate the idea of being able to translate stuff.
And if you recall, Google, they're in a little bit of trouble with the publishers because the whole idea is, hey, you're summarizing our content and we depend on those clicks to survive. But who's going to click on our site when you're summarizing our content? And it turns out that Google expected that, obviously. They're not idiots. And they made a decision about it.
Google decided against offering publishers options in AI search. Specifically, you cannot opt out.
But it was brought up that maybe we should let them. Or
This is the guy we always talk about who's raises his hand in the meeting. He's like, isn't this kind of hostile to our user base? And they're just like, shut up.
the answer was no for him. There was a whole idea of maybe we create an interface. We let the publishers somehow be involved. We give them maybe pay share or whatever. That was all rejected. soundly. I can never find the mouse cursor on this desktop.
We got to change it to like a bright pink one.
And Microsoft, not to be left behind, is also bringing out the AI agents to live right there on your desktop.
Microsoft is putting AI actions into the Windows File Explorer.
I already hate the new
with
context
like
menu.
the it's like called a billboard pattern in UX where it's got like cut and copy and everything like and bigger things at the top. It messed with my muscle memory.
You can shift click or registry edit to get around that, but it still surprises me because I'm not used to that yet. And it makes me mad every time. I definitely don't want AI in my context menu.
But how many young people understand file management at this stage?
Even a file system.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, OneDrive? Do you mean OneDrive?
I just dump everything in there and then search for it later.
And guess who else is searching it? And some people are, I imagine this guy probably had some big Memorial Day plans. And he was like, you know what? I don't have time to make this list myself. I'll just let the language model do it. Bad move.
Chicago Sun-Times prints summer reading list full of fake books.
Hilariously attributed to real authors.
That has to be like you're reading the paper and you're like, did I write that? I didn't write that.
He admitted to it. He says that he often uses AI, but he always double checks.
Does
except
he?
This one time. Just this one time he didn't do it.
Looking at his other articles probably proves that's a lie.
Now, I remember we did a story in the early days of the AI takeover that James Earl Jones signed his likeness away. Disney owns it. And so this is kind of weird because I don't know where that deal lands in terms of the guild.
SAG-AFTRA calls out Fortnite after Darth Vader AI voice.
So the problem here isn't the Darth Vader voice, which it's okay if you use it. They're saying it's because it's a language model generating the responses from the Darth Vader voice. That's what they don't like.
I'm misunderstanding. I don't fully understand the context there.
Oh, you can talk to Darth Vader in Fortnite?
Right.
And he talks to you from a language model. Like
right.
He replies with you.
But they don't like that it's just generating text?
They're saying there should have been a voice actor
paid for it, I guess.
But how would a voice actor record lines that don't exist yet?
Yeah.
That's a weird argument.
I'm not sure I fully follow. Normally I'm on the side of, artists and voice actors and whatnot, but I'm kind of confused about the argument there.
Is James Earl Jones still alive?
I'm not sure.
I hope he is.
I want to pretend he is and just not think about it for the rest of the long weekend.
And Apple is notably a big tech company that has nothing in the way of AI. They really missed that boat and it's hurt them, but they claim they're finally ready.
Report. Apple's next-gen version of Siri is on par with ChatGPT. She goes to another school. You don't know her. She's in Canada.
This is going to be in the cloud Siri. So for a while they were talking about on the device Siri. No, that's not what this is. This is in the cloud Siri. So everything that you interface with Siri on, remember, that's going to the Apple cloud.
Did you notice in this article, I feel like that icon looks a lot like the little Drupal man.
Is that supposed to be a face?
I don't know.
I think it's an ellipsis, right?
But it looks like the Drupal face. If it had a pointed head, it would be the Drupal man.
What's the name of the infinity symbol?
I just call it the infinity symbol. I don't know.
Ouroboros.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I don't know if that's the name of the symbol.
That's when something eats itself, right?
That's the snake.
Yeah.
Like he's actually a mythological monster from somewhere. Anyway. Yeah. AI. How persuasive is it? Now, once again, we have to bring up the caveat. These are people who volunteered to take part in a study. So they're idiots. So it's really persuasive to idiots.
AI is more persuasive than people in online debates. What was interesting is that if you gave the AI information about the person it was arguing with, it was more persuasive.
It could exploit that.
Yeah.
It knew how to push your buttons and it was better at it. Terrifying. Hide your details. You know what? When you get
or give it false flags. Yeah.
When you get a general AI, lie to it constantly. Never give it a straight answer. You should treat AI like you're in a courtroom.
Which is, that's kind of been something we've said for a while. Like, sometimes just throw out some fake information in there just to throw people off. Never let them know your next move.
Not sometimes. At
Constantly.
all times. And this goes along with one of the previous stories we did. I think we did in the business section, and you brought it up. The junior level. How do you start? How do you get a bite out of that apple? That first bite of your career? Well, it's getting harder.
I'm a LinkedIn executive, not a real job title, but continue. I see the bottom rung of the career ladder breaking.
That's the hesitation.
Yeah.
They're hesitant to hire anybody. And if they are going to hire somebody, it's not going to be somebody with no experience.
It's never worked out. Like, that never works. It's just being like, we won't hire anybody new. We'll never invest in new talent. Like, eventually that catches up with you.
You know, they say the phrase, this time it's different. It is different. Things are fundamentally changed, but I don't know if they've changed enough.
No. And eventually those systems, someone has to look, like a human being will eventually have to look at it if something breaks down. Someone needs to know how it works. And if you never train up anybody to know how it works,
well,
that's like 5 quarters from now. Who cares?
One of the most powerful men in the world disagrees with you, and not just when it comes to software.
Foxconn chairman predicts AI will end manufacturers' search for cheap labor.
So he's basically saying the whole India, China, Vietnam argument doesn't matter because it's just going to be robots. We're wasting our time arguing about it. And they do have a lot of experience in that world. Oh my God. New York Times paywall is so
aggressive.
Insulting.
Yeah.
But yes, AI in the school. Traditionally, schools have been terrified of it for good reason, because everything that we've seen seems to point to kids just cheating their way through everything. And with technology, kids are always going to be better at it than bureaucrats, right? Like, they're inflexible people who don't catch up on new things. And so the teachers are blind to what's happening. Well, finally, some of them may be adapting.
How Miami schools are leading 100,000 students paywall.
Into the AI future, basically, is what they're saying. So they gave some examples of, like, the teacher having AI generate stuff in the classroom. It was something about JFK. And then questioning the students is like, do you think it's right? Can you point out some problems with this? And that is an interesting way to look at it. At least you're teaching them critical thinking about AI. Right?
But yeah, that's how it should be. Like, if you're going to use it, like, you need to make them actually think and not just be like, yes, okay, and regurgitate it back, which is true of any kind of learning. Unfortunately, that's not how our education system is set up most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to catch on.
Yeah.
And even if it does, it moves so slowly that AI is going to advance beyond it, I think, faster than it can catch up. But big business doesn't move that slow. They're ready to move fast, especially if they have billions and billions of dollars, and this one does.
Walmart prepares for a future where AI shops for consumers. When I worked at a grocery store, we'd always, complain about the old people coming in to write their checks and taking forever. Am I going to be that person in the future who's coming in with my credit card and it's like, oh my gosh.
They're paying cash.
Miss Krista's here again and she's just taking forever.
I have, my shopping trips are now that.
Yeah.
And I have very, very low opinion of people who clog up the shopping
Yeah,
experience.
you try to get out of the way,
Well,
not now.
now I have dependents that are clogging up the shopping experience, and I don't want to say anything to them. Yeah, so Walmart is saying, basically to paraphrase, they're saying, hey, we're not going to be able to manipulate AI the same way we're going to be able to manipulate our customers. So all of our current marketing stuff and the way that we bring people into the store and, get them to buy useless garbage, that's not going to work anymore.
Let's do holographic banana stickers on all the displays to get the AI to grab it.
So they are trying to figure out a way, including building their own AI agents that can shop for you and interfacing with existing ones. So they're saying, yeah, if people start using AI to filter through and find the best products, we have to react to that. And they're trying to figure it out.
Wouldn't the solution be online advertising directly to the consumer so that they tell it, the AI, to put it in their cart?
But the consumer might not even be looking at that.
Right.
The consumer might be like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z, go fill out a cart. And the AI is going to be making the ultimate decision of what brand to get, which is crazy.
Man, that's not going to be a system prone to, only favoring big companies.
It's going to be SEO at the product level.
Ugh.
And we saw how that worked. But the real robots are coming too, and not only are they coming, but they are here and they are expanding rapidly. This is happening whether we like it or not.
Waymo says it reached 10 million robotaxi trips, doubling in 5 months.
And those are paid trips. This is no longer a beta testing service. This is live, people paying for it, and they're saying that they see a lot of repeat customers. People have just integrated this into their routine, and they're using it as a car.
I feel like that would be so expensive. I've only taken a taxi or like a Uber or something a couple times, but it was expensive. But I guess.
But if you don't have a car payment, you're not paying for any fuel,
Yeah.
and you're only doing like 2 or 3 trips a week, you probably save some money. And they're definitely going to save some money doing this over in China.
China deploys world's largest fleet of driverless mining trucks powered by Huawei tech.
I saw a video of this, and they just. I don't know if the Earth Mover was a robot or not. I think it's just the trucks. But basically just an endless line of these guys lined up waiting to get this is in Mongolia where they're mining for metals and stuff, and you just fill up truck after truck. Not a single driver in sight. And they can work around the clock. Imagine how much faster we can chew through the Earth's resources.
Yeah, man. Well, more and more people slide into poverty. How great.
And if let's say you're not in an industry that this affects, and you're not young and you don't have a junior position, maybe you own your own business, you might not be saved from all of this because do you live in a college town?
America's college towns go from boom to bust.
Which means that all the little businesses that pop up around kids with disposable income and poor decision making can no longer survive.
I did see one of our liquor stores went out.
That's a big one.
Tragic, yeah.
Although I think younger kids are not drinking as much, right?
I've heard that, yeah. I don't know how true it is, but...
Although at the same time, it seems like the buzz balls are really hot.
Well, there's that, but I think, too, like, as weed becomes more prevalent, I think the younger generation is into that.
That makes sense. But on a college campus, you usually can't get away with that, right?
There's all these different methods of getting it. You do gummies, or, like, they have the drinkable ones.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah.
was going to say, because we used to get fire alarms in the middle of the night over and over.
Oh, really?
And it was somebody smoking weed. But yeah, gummies would get around that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Everyone just always on a buzz.
That's probably a better solution in terms of health, right? A weed gummy instead of drinking till you throw up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I would argue maybe if you're reaching the point where you feel the need to medicate every day like that, there's maybe other problems going on, but probably better for you physically.
Probably would lead to a lot less teen pregnancy as well, because rather than, get all riled up and drunk, you just go to sleep.
You go get, spend your meal card at the cafeteria.
Here is, the UnitedHealth. The layers on this onion seem to be infinite and more rotten as we go down.
Revealed, UnitedHealth secretly paid nursing homes to reduce hospital transfers.
So they bribed them, and yes, it was a bribe, to enroll more old people into UnitedHealth. They gave them kickbacks, which is obviously illegal, but also to do everything they could to ever send those old people to the hospital, because that would cost UnitedHealth money, because they would have to pay for that. So they wanted you to sign them up and never send them to the hospital. And there were nursing homes who were like, I like that idea. Yes, let's do that.
The plumber wasn't wrong. We'll just say that.
He had some compelling arguments. Actually, we've never been able to hear his arguments.
Well, we saw them carved.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And you might be thinking, well, haha, stupid Americans with your healthcare system. Well, how about a little socialized healthcare nonsense?
Quebec's hearing aid plan for seniors only covers one ear. Critics are calling for a change. I couldn't get through it without laughing because it's so stupid.
How did the person that wrote that?
Did they have any moment where like, is this cruel? Is this unusual? Why would I ever do this?
I mean, I guess one is better than none, but that's something else.
Well, it's like here in the U.S., teeth and eyes are luxuries. You don't need those.
And a lot of countries, including the U.S., but very, very much the Asian countries, and I guess Russia as well, are having a little problem that they have crushed the spirit of their people to such a degree, and they've made the economies so unlivable that no one can afford to breed. But we need a tax base, damn it.
Russia seeks to ban Game of Thrones and Harry Potter over child-free ideology. They do realize the protagonists in Harry Potter are children.
And the Mother of Dragons? Like, who was anti-natalist in Game of Thrones?
They were very much about having children so you
It was
could
all about
secure
the
your line.
bloodlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
And
Maybe
Daenerys was infertile, not that she didn't want children. She just couldn't have them.
Maybe because Jon Snow wore the black, because they were prevented from having children, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
That's kind of a stretch, though.
That is I don't understand. It doesn't make it, like, and Harry Potter, like I said, all the characters in that, like, the main characters are children, so. And all, like, in the epilogue, they have kids, so.
Well, here's a man who thankfully did not have, I don't know, does he have kids? He might have kids.
I have no idea.
I sure hope he doesn't, for their sake.
Yeah. John Diddy Combs took ecstasy shaped like Obama's face, jury hears.
That was maybe the most fun fact that came out of the case.
Yeah, I was going to say, of all the things, like, probably not the worst thing in that
No,
list.
but I do love that there's Obama ecstasy. How hilarious is that? But yeah, he did
Hope and change.
a lot of, that would be a great name for it. He did a lot of weird stuff that's coming out. And yeah, a lot of just like he liked to be the puppet master and make people do things in front of him.
Ugh.
That was his thing. That's a weird one. Allegedly. And Jennifer Lopez, my God, I think this woman is well into her 50s, maybe her 60s.
I think she's in her 60s.
That's incredible.
It's not attainable without a lot of money.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
I was going to ask you. What do you think is the cumulative cost for this face?
A lot. I think she's probably aged well, some on her own too. But Jennifer Lopez sued in copyright case for posting photos of herself.
So I don't know if this is the photo in question, but she went to a premiere or some kind of event, Hollywood party, and the paparazzi took this picture of her. And they published it somewhere. And she was like, ooh, I look good in that picture. And she shared it, and they're suing her, saying that she was self-promoting with their copyright. What a world.
I would frown heavily upon this if I were a judge. It's like, that's her likeness. The only reason you got any money off of it was because of her.
Would Dark Krista have some thoughts on that?
I don't know if Dark Krista would, but it is, I would throw that out. But I'm not a judge. Probably for the best that I'm not a judge.
And qualified immunity. I love a good qualified immunity story. If you think that you don't live in a police state.
Judge finds police acted reasonably in shooting New Mexico man while at wrong address.
So they banged on dude's door in the middle of the night. When somebody bangs on your door in the middle of the night, you don't know what's going on. So he took a precaution. He brought a pistol with him when he answered the door. And when he pulled the door open and they saw the pistol, they killed him. They also, when his wife came downstairs with another pistol, I mean, this was a house.
Strapped, yeah.
This was a Second Amendment house. They had a shootout with her, and they missed her 19 times. Qualified immunity. Nobody's getting punished for that. Well, except for that guy.
Yeah, and the woman who has trauma for the rest of her life after losing her husband.
But I'm sure they wouldn't retaliate in any other way against her in that town.
No, I've never.
And I don't know if it's every 2 minutes, but my God, it's a lot.
It is.
And I hate it.
Office employees are interrupted by meetings every 2 minutes.
Now, it's just not just meetings. That is meetings, emails, and instant messages.
Yeah. Sometimes it depends on what's going on, but sometimes I like to work into the evening a little bit just so I can have a break and actually focus on something.
But you respond to pointless messages a lot.
I do.
You should not do that.
I'm not better.
But you could be.
I could be.
You got to let those turds float.
Just let them simmer.
Don't respond.
If it's yellow, let it mellow.
This is, when I go to a fast food place, I expect them to screw something up. I know it's going to happen. I don't like to order weird combinations of stuff or like, oh, hey, can I get that with ketchup only? No, never. Because it's not going to work. They're going to screw it up. Just eat what they sell you. Unfortunately, this man didn't have that option.
Texas man sues Whataburger for nearly $1 million after burger had onions on it. Again, if I was a judge, just right in the trash.
But he's allergic to onions.
Okay, less so. Never mind.
So he has already sued Sonic for this. But at that point, Like, you have a special problem. Maybe fast food's not for you.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Also, like, if you have an allergy, wouldn't you need to communicate it, but also, like, wouldn't just food being on the same grill, like, it's just a high risk for contamination.
and would you check?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you'd end up throwing a lot of food away, but that's got to be better. He claims he went to the ER with an allergic response. Like, he could be making it up, right?
I mean, it could be.
Or overreacting. I just don't think I would roll those dice. May contain peanuts. I'm not going to do it. And Japan, if you recall, there was the Japanese tech minister. Remember him? And he didn't know what, like...
Did he not know how to copy and paste?
Something about...
It was something really basic.
Yeah, like a really basic tech thing. He didn't comprehend it. He didn't know what it was even. And he was ashamed by that. And this is maybe a little bit, almost as bad.
Japan's agriculture minister resigns after his remark about not having to buy rice.
So if you don't know, Japan is in the middle of a rice famine. Japan, now think about it, Japan...
The country that was built on fighting over rice fields.
Importing it at this point.
Wow.
They're importing bananas. And so he, knowing that, made a speech and was like, oh, I never buy rice. They give it to me because of who I am. So he's stepping down after some backlash.
Imagine if our folks would step down when they made such blunders.
We wouldn't have any.
Yeah.
What a utopia that would be. And MrBeast. Apparently, MrBeast for a while there was just going to ancient temples and exploring them. Like that was his thing. Because he did Egypt. And he also did some Mayan ancient ruins here in Mexico. They're a little bit upset about it.
Mexico demands compensation from production company over MrBeast's pyramid chocolate video.
He claimed that the MrBeast Feastable chocolate was Mayan approved.
I don't think we know their opinions.
I'm sure they'd love it if they could have had it, right? Processed sugar probably would have blown their minds.
Well, didn't they have chocolate back then? I guess it was more of like it was not as sugary as what it is now.
Right, yeah. They didn't have refined sugar.
Yeah.
And microplastics are, of course, teeming in all of our bodies.
In you, in me.
And clouding our minds and judgment and making us horribly cancerous. But this is not about microplastics. This is about macroplastics.
Losing the war on waste.
So this is an Australian island where there are a lot of birds. And I don't think there's much other than birds. This is just like one of those bird paradises. You ever see those specials where it's like rock cliffs and they're white, but the rocks aren't white?
That's just bird crap.
Just a lot of birds. And these birds might have some upset stomachs because look at this. They said that it has gone in 2013 maybe. There was an average of 5 pieces. Now we're getting 20 to 50.
That's so sad.
Per bird. And all of this up here, that's actually a little collage of all the plastic pieces that they've fished out of these bird stomachs. And they claim that when they have a dead bird, you can squeeze it and it sounds like a crunchy toy like your dog would have.
Oh.
Because there's so much plastic. Some really graphic stuff in here.
Someone years and years ago, probably before our area even had a dump, they used part of our woods as like a little dumping ground, and I've slowly been picking it up. And that stuff does disintegrate. And like you think you get it all, and then you find more.
Yeah. And this is your reminder, plastic recycling is a hustle. It's not real. They just ship it different places and it breaks up and becomes microplastics.
Maybe we should use plastic more sparingly.
Has Little Roo ever bitten anybody?
Nope.
Well, that's good news because that means she's got one in reserve.
Oh, every dog is entitled to one bite. Tribunal rules denying woman 5K.
So this chick lived in a building, and as she was leaving the building, someone had been walking their dog who also lived in the building, and the dog gave her a little nip on the hand. They downplayed the injury in the article. I don't know if they had an angle or whatever. They said it barely broke the skin, but she went to the ER.
Yeah.
And she had to get a tetanus shot, which...
It implies it's maybe a little more serious.
It's annoying. I think they would always do that, though, just to be safe. But yeah, the judge said, hey, this doesn't show that this dog is aggressive because every dog is allowed one bite. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
You should be responsible for whatever your dog does and your children. And the old emotional support animal debate rages on.
Courts to decide if Tasmanian supermarket discriminated by not allowing an alpaca in the store. Is it alpacas or llamas? Maybe both. Who spit everywhere?
Spit.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that in my shopping experience.
I don't want Abigail. That's a woman?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, so she's had this llama for a long time, and they're BFFs, I guess, and she wanted to take it to the store, and they said no. But yes, I had the exact same thought as you. I don't want an animal spitting on me.
And also, this is an animal that also, doesn't really control its bladder.
And
it's not
stinky.
like a dog, you know what I mean?
They don't smell good.
Yeah.
We don't need that in the grocery store. You know what? Get a delivery order or a pickup.
Or use the AI.
Get a pickup and then put your groceries on the llama and have it pick them up.
Doing what it was born to do.
And some people have dogs in apartments that are no pets.
I would never have done
What
that.
kind of monster? But this guy had an ingenious solution on dealing with that.
Man releases snakes in Bangkok condo to protest against neighbor's noisy dog despite ban on pets.
He made a post to the social media group that the whole building was part of, and he was like, hey, send your pets out to play with mine. They'll squeeze them with love.
Oh.
He was reprimanded for this, but they did get rid of the dog. It was successful.
Wow.
Although, what's he going to do with these snakes now?
He just throws them out. Be free.
A snake is not a temporary pet.
He's going to be at a shelter and no one's going to pick him.
I added this story and I thought it was going to be some kind of weird mutation or something, but no, this was just a dead one.
Oh, residents of Florida community stunned by discovery of a headless alligator in canal.
Not just its head, but also its tail.
What?
So, yeah, the question is, how did this happen?
Was it a black bear?
In Florida?
Yeah, there's black bears in Florida. I wouldn't think though, thinking about it some more, hypothesizing, I would think if a black bear didn't went in the water, I think the alligator or the crocodile or whatever would have an
decided advantage. Yeah. So they think maybe this was poaching.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew.
Somebody had to go in and fish out the corpse. Take it somewhere else and dispose of it. That's a tough job. And maybe out of fear, much like a cat, these alligators are trying to self-adopt.
Knock, knock. Alligator spotted knocking on doors in Florida neighborhood. Housekeeping.
Now that everybody has a Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
You catch these all the time.
The surveillance.
Hilarious.
The surveillance state, the only benefit.
Now, I'm glad they put these red circles in this picture.
I wouldn't have seen those.
I wouldn't have known
There
where
he
the
is.
alligator was.
It's doing that for the AI training.
I guess so.
Choose all the images that have an alligator in them.
There's the video. You can check out the video. That would be surprising if you open the door. I would not put cat food out for that animal.
No. That's worse than a possum.
Much worse.
I've attracted possums with cat food outside before. Still salty about it. That's our last story, though, for the day, for the week. We will be back next week. Wendell should be back next week. In the meantime, you can check us out at all these different places. We also have some new t-shirts on the store if you're interested in that.
Which you should be.
Yeah, obviously. So go check that out. Bye.